Welcome back to Crystal Clear Coaching with me, Crystal Tottenham. Today, I just want to take a moment to honor you for how far you have come and whatever journeys you're on, have been on, whether accomplished or only a couple of steps have been taken. Think back to, let's say, a year ago. Can you notice what's changed? What shifted for you in that time? Can you notice what you were dreaming of back then? And look, if 1 year doesn't quite hit the nail on the head, bring it back, whatever feels potent to you. 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, a decade. Even if we haven't intended or worked towards changing in that time would have changed us in some way. Hopefully for the better of what you truly want for yourself. But if it hasn't, again, I never want you to take anything too harshly. If you notice something like that, that's a great noticing, and I invite you to look at it with curiosity and know that from this moment on, you can choose to step forward in ways that do serve what you actually want. Even if it's just researching what you could want. Just, dip your toe in a way that's not going to overwhelm you. Whatever you need to do, if there is something you want to change that you noticed you haven't been changing. But let's just go back to most of us will be in the space that we do notice a lot has changed for us in a year. I mean, I'll share what's changed for me. So, this time a year ago, April, we're at the start of April. This time a year ago, I was living in New Zealand. I was still living in my darling dad's house. Um, we had a lot of fun together, don't get me wrong, but I had felt like I couldn't get out of my own way to get myself doing things that lit me up and, moving out and being more independent. And it was about this time a year ago, I decided, screw it, I'm going to sell my car. I'm going to get scrappy and find a way to move to the Gold Coast because I need to do something different. I had a few years at least, if not longer, feeling quite stagnant. Like I physically stagnant, like within my external world and my day-to-day life. However, in that time, I also did the deepest internal work I have ever done uh, through training through my life coaching course. And I did 3 rounds of it too. Not to mention becoming a book nerd all over again through the discovery in those years of um, the library's free app that allows you to listen to all the books that the library has in audiobook form, e-audiobooks, and even read some digital ebooks as well, and some physical books as well. So I learned so much through all that and through different, well, mostly from my life coaching course, but just other places. And I had learned so much through life experiences and my travels and such previously. But yeah, if you looked at the external reality of my life in up until about a year ago, just under a year ago, like I was living at my father's house at 35, 36 years old, um, and had been there for about 5 years after getting back from Canada. Then COVID hit, and then, my intentions to move out fell to the wayside. And um, look, I had it great. I was lucky to have a beautiful spot to live in, and Dad and I get along well, and we have a lot of fun together watching rom-coms actually. He is such a beautiful emotional sook when it comes to rom-coms, so love that for us. It was very entertaining for me. Um, anyway, um, and he has absolutely no embarrassment around it, and I love that. I love that. He just leans into it, and there's something so beautiful about that. There was just zero. It's not okay for a man to cry, and I want that for the world. I want that for the world. Even if, especially because it was about all the beautiful romantic moments in the films that we watched, and it could be like a really terrible, like kind of not even Hallmark level, but like below Hallmark level kind of film, and he would be getting emotional. So love him to bits. But I did feel in that house a little stuck, and nothing to do with him. He was helping me out. It was beautiful. It was me not getting out of my own way to earn more money. I had all sorts of stories between focusing on studying life coaching and also, you know, like having my main career in film and TV getting more and more stagnant because there just wasn't as much work going around. And if you don't have 100% of your career attention to focus on the film industry, you probably won't get the jobs because, especially when it's a slow season, because um, it's just something that takes over your whole life, which I love in seasons of my life, and I probably will love in seasons of my life in the future. But I found myself being more interested in learning more about personal development and coaching and building that skill set. And also, starting by looking deeply at myself. I mean, it wasn't even a start, like I'd started long ago looking deeply at myself and how my brain works and what comes up for me um, and whether it's serving me or not anymore. That's the most important part because if it's still serving you and what you want in this world, then there's nothing to change. It's when it's not serving you that we get to look at it and we get to choose differently. Um, and internally, I had uncovered so much and I never felt internally stronger, more confident, more trust in myself. And it hadn't quite translated into my external reality. I on the surface was living with one of my parents, in my mid 30s, um, and seemingly unable to get out of my own way to get out of there and um, reclaim my independence and choose a bit more sovereignly as to what I wanted to do. And look, there's still a way to go. Like, there's still a way to go with that. There's things that I still need to um, work towards, and that's okay. Like, that's totally okay. But I got scrappy and I decided about a year ago to move anyway, make a bold move anyway, because I knew I needed to switch up my atmosphere to grow myself. And I wasn't entirely sure why I chose where I was, where I am now. I just knew it felt right. I still don't have any specific reason why I chose the Gold Coast beyond having done my coaching course mostly online via the Gold Coast slash Brisbane, and knowing some people around here. But having said that, I didn't move over for them because I knew I'd get over here and life would get busy and we probably wouldn't see each other that often, as we haven't. But that's also fine. Like, I it's also been a couple of years since we last did a round, so naturally people's lives have moved on and progressed, and I see them when I can, and it's great that I can see them, Um, but it's also at the sacrifice of not seeing my family as much. So I'm very excited to go home and visit New Zealand later this month. So um, yeah, and also at the same time, like I just look even if it's not looking like what's most important is we've got to look at how we feel internally as a measure of progress in our own sovereign lives, as opposed to what's happened or hasn't happened externally yet. And of course, there's more external things I would like to happen. And by external, I just mean like, um, you know, having physical, obvious progress, public progress with my coaching and success financially coming through that, and the things that can come from the outside world. I mean, but the things that I have the most control over is my internal world. So to empower myself, I get to and choose to empower my internal world first, because it starts with our thoughts. Like nothing becomes manifested into reality until we think it to the point that we take an action towards it. So starting internally is very important. And I know that all the internal work that I have done in the past, let's think, 5 years, has helped me become someone that could, at the drop of a hat, off the top of my head, coach someone to a better space than they were at the start of the session. Um, Whether I have the space to have notes or the proper time or the proper tools in front of me, that's less and less important, because I know how to sit with someone and go through what is needed in those moments, intuitively move from thing to thing, because I've trained in it so deeply at this point and understood it from my own perspective, as my own lenses of doing the work at myself, that I can feel into the energy fields of what someone needs in each moment that I am with them. And I'm so grateful for that, all that internal work that past me did, and that present me continues to do, because I just love it. And yeah, this time a year ago, my life didn't look that flash hot on the surface. I mean, I was I was doing some part-time hours on a film, which I desperately needed the money from. And I didn't do anything crazy um huge on that film. Like I just did like a really handful, maybe a few weeks all up, with a few days, basically a few days a week for a couple of months. um, and I was barely on set and basically just helped do a lot of logistics, to be honest, and laundry, late night laundry with no one else but security around. Um, but for actors that are well known, actor that was well known and they're stunting, you know. So it's like you could, you can use that kind of stuff in the film industry, and we do frequently as film crew, as something to kind of brag about. But reality is, I was doing laundry in the middle of the night somewhere out in West Auckland, so it's really not that glamorous. It's not that exciting, but I got some money, and it helped me, um, keep on keeping on for that season. But I just still wasn't financially doing great, and I just realized the only way I was gonna do something different this year, last year, was by getting scrappy. And I had this wonderful Mini Cooper that I loved, but was costing me a lot of money, and it was the only way I could get around town, which I needed where I lived in Auckland. Um, and I just thought I could have this beautiful car and continue on the trajectory of this life and do this for another year or two or however long, or I could sell this beautiful car and use the money that I get from it to move to the Gold Coast, knowing full well I will have to use public transport when I get here, and be carless for at least a season, if not a few seasons. And that's what I did. And I'm really glad I did it because I desperately needed a new atmosphere, a new energy. Uh, I needed to get out into the world again. I'd been hiding from the world, happily hermiting and learning all about my coaching um, for honestly years. And like I'd have the odd spot where I'd actually go out and hit the town, but it also just didn't really, it still doesn't really excite me that much. Once in a while with the right company, I have a lot of fun out and about. And I have definitely gotten to karaoke in the past year. I mean, I've always loved it, but I've found better spots and places to do it and made it more of a priority through happenstance. Um, and it brings me a lot of joy. So, yay. But long gone are the days that I feel like I need to go outside and go out and stay out late and party and drink and just to feel um, seen or feel like I'm enjoying my life, you know? Sometimes I really enjoy my life staying in and listening to a book or hanging out with my friend's cat for a week. um, or, you know, like I can really enjoy my life in other ways. And I'm at the point in my life that whatever I enjoy, like, I, even if I might call it a guilty pleasure, like, well, I don't want to feel guilty about something that I find pleasurable. So let's just not be guilty. Just enjoy it. But yeah, I've come a long way in the past year. And I could easily say, well, there's still so much more I want to do with my coaching. Like, well, actually have it be something that turns a consistent income. But honestly, that's not what's most important to me. My most important thing is that people learn for themselves how they can do the internal work with curiosity and shift things that have held them back for years, decades, even like most of their life. Because there's all sorts of things, all stuff that we assume we don't even realize we're assuming, could have been assuming it for 30 years. That unless we look at it, unless we are willing to look at our shadows and the patterns running our shadows and our ways of um, self sabotaging, we're not going to be able to shift them. Like sometimes happenstance will happen that you'll just end up in a new environment or around different people, and life will force you to change those patterns. But you can wait until that happens, or you could choose to change those patterns because you have the control over your own life to a degree, at least, and you can choose to make the change now. You know, to wait for a breakdown to have that breakthrough. I think if I think back, like what has really changed for me in the past year is, I mean, obviously I'm in a completely different locale, um, but the fact that I have shown up here on YouTube daily this whole year so far and did a month on and off for kind of, you know, since October last year. As much as I know there's more amplification that needs to be done to get these videos actually getting uh, to more people that they can actually help, I'm really proud that I found a consistent way to show up and talk about the stuff that I wanted to talk about on Instagram, but I'd always get cut off. And then I'd get frustrated and just not want to show up there at all. So, yeah, I'm really stoked that even if you're the one person watching right now, I'm so grateful that you're here. And I hope that this resonates with you and it's something that you take on board if you feel so called for yourself, and with curiosity, because you've only got one wild and precious life, you know? So use it while you have it, you know, before you lose it. Use it before you lose it. And I'm also like stoked that I've found a part-time job slash it's kind of full-time. It's between part and full-time. That I actually love, and I love everyone that I work with, and it's just selling pretty things that I adore that I've always wanted to wear, but I had no excuse to. Um, so I'm loving that. And I'm enjoying the season that I'm in while I'm in it, and that it's giving me space to, you know, do more on here. Um, and taking a break from working in film, as much as I still love it, so that I have that space to build my life in more sustainable ways for what my goals are. And I've definitely come a long way in the past year, so yay. Again, I invite you to notice how far you've come in your past year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever feels most potent for you, and just make sure if you haven't really celebrated each season, if you just kind of moved on to the next thing and the next thing, and not really celebrated how far you've come, can you just like, I don't know, even if it's just like a little dance party right now, or yeah, you have a fancy kombucha, or I mean, you can have a champagne if you're into that, or whatever it is, or maybe you just plan a cute little outing, solo date for yourself, to celebrate in whatever way calls to you how far you have come, even if it's just for you and yourself. Because we can so easily move into the next season and then be working on the challenges of that season and forget that past of past us was once dreaming of finally being in the reality of where we are already. And yet we're not present enough to notice that we are now in the reality of what we once dreamed. So, yeah, make sure you celebrate how far you've come, please, friend. I will leave it there for today, and I will see you tomorrow.